This show is part of the Miles Offside Podcast Network. Visit twitter.com/milesoffsidepod for more information. And now, on with the show. Welcome to another episode of the Christian Pulisic podcast, where we talk a little bit of Christian Pulisic and a whole lot of Christian Pulisic. My name is Christian Pulisic, also known as Christian Pulisic, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Christian Pulisic and super producer Christian Pulisic. Hello, gentlemen. How are we Pulisicing today?
You know when you hear something so often that it just loses all meaning?
Pulisic. I don't know. I don't care about the accent or whatever. I think of it as Pulisic, and it makes me think of the feeling that promoted clubs get when they just need a bit more stability, and they just need that Pulis itch. Just got that Pulis itch. They need to scratch it. They need to get Big Tone in with his hat and his naked headbutts of David Myler or whoever it was. And no, that was Pardew. Pardew headbutted David Myler.
Yeah, James Beattie, I think.
James Beattie, there we go.
Are you feeling the Pulisic over at Palace these days? Or?
I mean, I'm feeling my liver abuse.
You always feel that itch this stage in the season, don't you? Palace never start well.
You were so hopeful only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
2 short weeks ago.
Life finds a way. I've got gin, and this might not be a good idea, but I'm going to drink it. And we'll see what happens. I don't really want to talk about football this week, guys.
Well, I had purchased a whole 6-pack of like a good American Sam Adams lager to drink.
Sam Adams!
And I finished them before we even got here.
Okay.
So I'm all out. I'm fresh out. But you got me, and you got my bandana and my sunglasses, and you got my best effort A+ all day, baby. Let's go.
We should mention you are cutting quite the patriotic figure today.
There's a definite Bruce Springsteen born in the USA vibe going on.
Oh, yeah. I bought this bandana at Walmart, for the 2014 World Cup, and I've never washed it or untied it. It just, sits on top of my dresser for whenever the U.S. is playing. And it's just getting progressively smellier and sweatier over, almost a decade now. But we are the Miles Offside Podcast. That is our actual name, and we are going to go through our usual fixtures rundown, take a look at what happened this week, do some predictor games and things of that nature, but we will be starting off, as we always do, with rapid fire Christian Pulisic. News. Rapid fire news. We'll start off with the big stories, gentlemen. Neymar has been left out of the PSG squad for the second week running. There continues to be speculation about his future, as there are stories that he is going to move eventually to Barca, or Madrid, or Munich, or insert 900 other teams here. Any pity for Neymar? 2 weeks left out of the squad entirely?
Neymar is a prick.
That's news.
Hashtag breaking. I don't care for him. Well, if he is going to go back to Barcelona, we bigged it up on the Twitter the other day about the fact that ITV now have rights to show La Liga in England, which is all well and good, except for I watch on a smart TV, and ITV does no show the football on the smart TV apps or the web apps. So that was good. And then I finally found a way, let's say, to watch the Barcelona game. And it was probably one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. Barcelona looked absolutely dog shit, and I couldn't tell which team that wears red and blue I was really watching, because they both played shit and neither of them had Messi in there. So I can kind of see why the appeal is that Neymar would go over there and they'd try and cause as many problems as possible.
Yeah, we don't really talk about the other leagues and the European teams as much, but they really have been moving towards...
Brexit, innit?
Yeah, exactly. That's why we support Burnley over here at this podcast. No.
No, we fucking don't.
Just kidding. This week I kind of did. Barca have been moving closer and closer to being, genuinely a one-man team for years now. And I think they finally, tipped over. And so with Messi being injured or off from summer duty still with Argentina duty, not entirely sure why he wasn't there, but... they did not look good. And you would think that they could use the talent of like a ball progressor and passer who's really good, maybe of Brazilian descent, maybe used to play for Liverpool. Who knows? I don't know. But that takes us to our second story because Barcelona have agreed to allow Philippe Coutinho to move to Bayern Munich on a season-long loan deal. Do we think that Coutinho can get the magic back? It was only a few years ago that people were talking about him as one of the best young players in the world.
He's going on loan?
For free.
Well, he's going for free?
Yeah, I mean, they're paying his wages, obviously, but there was no transfer fee for the loan that I read about in my cursory glance at the news story that I had pulled up on my Chromebook a second ago. There's an option to buy at the end of the loan. He could have done a job. Like, how is there no English team that was like, fuck it, I'll throw £30 million at Coutinho? Like, Barca would have taken it.
No, Arsenal and Tottenham and probably Everton, I guess, were linked with him in the window. But I suppose it's just that extra time, and Barca still have like the FFP stuff to sort out. There's all the gripes with the Griezmann transfer from Atletico, and obviously all the money they spent on him, so they kind of don't know what's going on there. And obviously getting Neymar back after they sold him for 200 million isn't going to be cheap.
Do you think things are just starting to reach a tipping point where players are just so expensive, wages are just so expensive that things are going to start grinding to a halt because only a couple of top clubs can afford anyone? Either
like grind to a halt, or you will just get these things where players just go, or you see them more often, the run out your contract kind of thing and not play.
But you have a bad season, you're going to have to accept a wage drop, aren't you? I mean, I don't know. How common are like 5-year deals these days? I don't really know. Seems like players sign 2-year deals now. Yeah,
especially once they start hitting those later ages.
Yeah.
Coutinho's only 27, man. Like, to me, it feels like this move from Barca, where he's been rotting on the bench, to Bayern Munich for someone who was like undeniably one of the best young talented players in the world a few years ago. He's in his prime age. I just think that like it's kind of weird. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, really,
I don't know. They just want to keep Dembele, who I realised last night is not good. And then, like, Frankie de Jong was alright, and then they all slag off Rafinha, but Rafinha's actually okay. Griezmann just looked all at sea and like he had never played football before. With his hair, again, looked like David Luiz up front. I don't know, maybe Messi doesn't want Coutinho, or there's some Brazil-Argentina beef there, or some shit, but...
Could be.
They need to ditch... Oh, Suarez as well, of course. They've got big fat Suarez. Big fat lazy Suarez.
And I'm with Ian. I do think that there's an increasing number of... Like, in basketball, you call them the such and such is expiring contract. It's like a old player who isn't really playing, but they're expensive. And there are reasons to pick them up in basketball because of the salary cap. So, like, you pick up some expiring contracts so that coming summer, you basically traded a really expensive player for a bunch of, like, free money or freed up funds in your budget. And it does feel like there's some of the, like, an equivalent sort of thing happening in soccer with, like, Ozil, Sanchez, a bunch of these, like, older, unbelievably expensive guys who aren't getting minutes at their club, and then, like, they can't get offloaded to anywhere else either because no one else can afford them. So it's just, like, this is a weird thing that's happening. I do think it's, like, something that might change the way transfers work. I think maybe we will start seeing shorter contracts the way you said, Ian.
Any player, no matter what level they are, is to a certain degree a punt. I mean, Ozil is obviously talented, but...
He's a punt.
He's a massive punt. And it just hasn't worked out, has it? And any player can be like that with any club. So it feels like clubs... Well, it feels like clubs have got to limit risk at some point, but that doesn't seem to be in football clubs' vocabulary, does it?
No, not right now. And it's hard to, like, ship off your old players to MLS when they're making $500,000 a week. Like,
China, baby.
Yeah, China. Actually, China's a good answer. To keep it moving along, because this is nominally a rapid-fire news
Never has
segment.
been, never will be.
Never will be. The next story, one that is particularly annoying to me. Manchester City have been fined but are avoiding a transfer ban for breaching FIFA's rules on under-18 signings. That, for the record, is the literal headline from the BBC website. That was not me putting a bias into the headline at all. So, the exact same thing Chelsea did, and they were fined £300,000.
Whoa, that's big money.
What do I even fucking say about that? 300,000 fucking pounds. That now makes 5 big clubs that have been found guilty of the same fucking thing. 3 of them got a transfer ban but pushed back so they could get their affairs in order. City got the lightest fucking slap in the wrist in the history of fines. Please, they fined 300,000 pounds in the fucking washing machine. And we got a 2-window transfer ban that we're not allowed to appeal because otherwise they'll extend it. Like, what the fuck?
Do you think maybe because Chelsea were like, look, we've got a shitload of players we want to get rid of, we actually want to start saving money again, that they just made up this whole transfer ban bullshit?
Ooh, conspiracy theory Chuck coming out again.
Actually, they got the same. They got like a 250 grand. Because who gives a fuck about Bertrand Traore? Like, honestly, can anyone pick him out of a lineup, tell me where he plays for, what position, how old he is now? Like, what the fuck, man? And so I think they just did this out of convenience to then kind of do some workarounds, get a fuckload of money backed up for financial fair play, because they're what, like £250 million in the black for the transfer window just gone.
Yep.
And so like that net spend, baby. They sell like a couple more players in January, and then they're coming at you with a £300 million war chest next summer. Like, fuck that. Chelsea gonna go big. And so I just think it's bullshit.
I sure fucking hope so.
Tax
but
evasion.
Like, why? To bring it back to this story, like, why even fucking fine them at that point? $300,000? Like, that's a joke.
It's so funny.
I mean, if I wasn't a Chelsea fan, I'd think it was funny too, so.
It's well funny.
Fair enough. All right, to take it to a happy story here, we have Hendon FC, who play in the 7th level of English football's pyramid, are going to be giving free tickets for the whole season, I believe, if not indefinitely, to people with mental health problems, loneliness, isolation, and things of that nature. As obviously something that is near and dear to my heart, as that we've talked about sort of in the past. I have to say, super round of applause and thumbs up and big ups to Hendon FC, the now official 7th division club of Miles Offside FC.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Podcast.
I'm down with them being our adopted lower league team. I mean, apart from Peterborough, obviously, but you know,
obviously. Thank you.
Let's hope they don't meet in 2-3 years. But no, it's absolutely fantastic that they're providing something for people, and you know, as we said when we put it out on Twitter, that especially for the kind of people who sometimes no one knows needs that help, and as much as well, especially after today, football is fucking bullshit sometimes. That sometimes you just need that going out and forgetting about your problems to cheer on 22 blokes chasing after a ball on a pitch. And so it's really great that Hendon are offering that support and giving people that opportunity to come down and be part of the club and kind of forget about their problems for a while. They're not claiming, you know, they're also offering different methods of support, etc., but they're not claiming to be the complete solution to the problems, but just giving people a bit of a helping hand, which is nice. And to be honest, what we need in the world nowadays is just more people being nice.
Yeah, and speaking of people being sort of noble and good, and more of what we need in the world, the final story of the Rapid Fire News this week, there was a referee who stood up to a fucking crowd and actually did something about it, which is really nice to see. French 2nd Division side AS Nancy could face disciplinary action after their match against Le Mans was stopped due to homophobic chanting by a section of fans. So obviously, while on the one side being disappointing that there continue to be garbage fans at clubs all over the world, it is kind of awesome to see, you know, the clubs and the referee and the sort of hierarchy of the actual football side of it taking a stand and really sort of doing something about it in real time, not just after the fact condemning them in press conferences, but like something actually happening in real time about it too, which is cool.
This is literally all you need to happen, and it will get killed in the stadium. You just need to stop the game. And this needs to happen way more often, be it racism, homophobia, whatever. And it will stop because people want to go and watch their football team. So this is what needs to happen, and that referee did his job brilliantly. And so few referees do that job when it comes to that side of it, because we get a lot of UEFA reports afterwards, don't we, saying, the referee claimed he couldn't hear any chanting or whatever. And it's like, well, the fucking mics picked it up, so the guy in the middle of the pitch could fucking hear it. So it's, it's very good to see that, because that will stop it. It will stop it.
Yeah, and it takes a courageous thing to do. Like, it seems like nothing to us, but, like, as we've seen from I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's, like, rioting and stuff in South America. There's, like, a big story about that at a soccer match and, like, actual injuries and stuff. It can turn ugly if you, really antagonize a crowd. And so especially, like, this isn't, PSG at the Paris Stadium or whatever the name of their stadium is. This was, like, in the second division. So, like, things can get a little crazier the further down you go.
Hey, if it's people that are going to stand out in public and shout homophobic or racist abuse, then chances are they're the fucking dregs of society. So they're not above just punching a stranger in the face. But no, as Ian said, I think you surmised it perfectly, mate, that the fact that you hear a referee stand up and do that in front of a crowd is fantastic, and it needs to happen more. Not that I'm saying it's an easy thing to do and an easy position for you to be in with tens of thousands of people around you. You just ending all of that, but it's good as well that the league have supported all of this and no one's shied away by pretending it didn't happen or I didn't hear it, etc. So good on ya.
Kudos to that ref.
All right, well, that'll do it for rapid fire news.
Have some confidence in what you're saying, Oscar.
Yep. Let's get to the fixtures, and let's start off with the obviously most important one. This next segment is brought to you by our listeners in Virginia, where we love you, and we actually have more of you than we do in London now, so shout out to Virginia.
Wait, what's the state code for Virginia?
VA?
VA!
I don't know, I'm really bad at that, actually.
That was a guess.
We love you, Virginia.
USA. We had Christian Pulisic making his debut. That's why it's brought to you by Virginia, because they're American.
It's not his debut, he's already played.
His home debut / full debut, starting in the lineup.
Amazing amount of disrespect for the Super Cup there.
The Super Friendly.
Fuck the Super Cup.
Oh yeah, because that happened after we recorded last time. He wouldn't be saying that if they won it. He wouldn't be saying that if they won it.
Oh, please, you know me. I wasn't saying how the Europa League was great after we won the Europa League either. I still don't give a shit about it. Although, since you brought it up, it was nice to see us actually go toe-to-toe with Liverpool for 120 minutes. That was cool.
Which you did. You certainly did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But then you remembered that Tammy Abraham is cursed, so...
Well, let's go to this weekend's result, which was Christian Pulisic 1 and Leicester 1 at Stamford Bridge.
No, come on. Don't be disrespectful to the young English fucking player.
Yeah, no. A big day for Chelsea in a lot of different ways. Frankie making his big match debut back at the Bridge after years away and first time as a manager, obviously. Mason Mount making his Stamford Bridge debut as well as Pulisic. He was not the only one today. And Mason Mount obviously scoring on his home debut 14 years after joining the club at the tender age of 6 years old.
No wonder they got the transfer ban. They're paying for 6-year-olds.
Tapping up 6-year-olds.
Mate, don't do that. You can get a lot worse than a transfer ban for that.
Well, that was 14 years ago, so, different times.
No, it wasn't different times. Jesus.
This is going off the rails. Chelsea 1, Leicester 1.
Don't try and do the score again so that we cut that bit out.
No. I'm not trying to cut. I'm feeling good, guys. I'm feeling fucking great. And it's not just the 6 patriotic American beers that I drank.
Samuel Adams. We should get sponsored by Sam Adams. I like a Sam Adams.
Hey, you know what we should get sponsored by is Premier League in the USA and Chelsea in the USA. Both of those official Twitter accounts liked my tweet. I'm going viral. I'm an influencer, baby, in my shiny new Pulisic jersey that I got yesterday at an American store called We Got Soccer. Not We Got Football, We Got Soccer. Shout out to We Got Soccer and that worker that I was talking to yesterday who may or may not have taken my recommendation to listen to our podcast starting this week.
Yeah.
We'll easily be able to see if there's one more listener. Don't worry about it.
It was really nice actually being out and among the people. I think...
The people, your people.
My people, yes, our people. when I texted like our group chat yesterday, and every time I get a new jersey, I get like obviously super hype and excited, and I'm always texting you guys, and I always kind of get the sense that you guys are like, so you bought a shirt, why are you so fucking excited? I don't understand. But like from the American perspective, and I think a lot of our American listeners will relate to this, we obviously don't get to go to the games ever, so a big part of how we engage meaningfully with the team is by like going out and like declaring your love by repping your team, by getting a jersey, by buying some merch, and by talking to people when you're at the stores and stuff. So being at like a soccer exclusive store yesterday, there was a ton of people buying Pulisic jerseys. And there was like kids walking around in their Chelsea jerseys, and like the guys who worked there were like, oh, Pulisic's playing tomorrow, how cool is it going to be? Like, it was really nice to remember that like there's like a really tight-knit community basically among Premier League fans, and it was cool to be out there and like and engaging with that. And so like that's what buying a jersey means to me, more than just like, oh cool, I got a new shirt.
Yeah, I can see that the sports culture in the States in general is different because it's far less aggressive, and wearing a team shirt out is more of like an invite to a conversation almost. Like, you know, you see people having conversations between the two different teams and supporting and no drama, whereas like here, if you wear it, you just kind of get looked at like a scumbag or what have you. And I remember, so the last 2 seasons where I've been in the States for the end of season, when we beat Hull on like the 37th game week, I wore my Palace shirt out that day and was walking around like Disney in Florida, and there were American people coming up to me and going, "Hey, great result today!" Like, well,
no way, really?
And it's it's just
that's how it goes down. It really is like
it's just a completely different impact. So I can understand why like you're there, and I mean, obviously they're all wearing Chelsea shirts. Weren't you in a Chelsea shop?
No, there was like every club, Spanish, German, Premier League. And like I had, there is a camaraderie amongst fans where even like an Arsenal fan will come up to me and be like, "You fuckers, you better not blah blah." Like it's like a we are brothers in this, even if we have our own differences within that.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you say, "Shut the fuck up, Arsenal, bitch!"
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking David Luiz stealing prick.
That was unpleasant. Should we talk about the actual football? It was a weird match. Did you guys catch the match? Did you happen to see Chelsea-Leicester? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Leicester definitely went for you. I mean, they didn't sort of sit back at all. Maddison looked very tasty. Could have scored a couple, to be honest.
Yeah, hearts and mouths there, a lot of it. I think both teams, our announcer, the American network announcer, kept saying that it's like a last few rounds of a heavyweight fight where they're just not, their arms aren't up, they're just throwing haymakers left and right, left and right. It did have like a ridiculous back and forth kind of feel to it. Entertaining as all hell. Chelsea barely edged the XG, but they both round to the nearest whole number 1-1, so it's a fair result, I felt like.
And on the eye test, it looked like a draw was a fair result as well, to be fair.
Yeah, it passes the eye test for sure, the XG, which is nice when that happens because, as will be a running story for the rest of the fixtures this week, the XG and the eye test and the reality of the outcome will be very different. But this was a 1-1 that felt like a 1-1, and it was entertaining as fuck to watch. Obviously, I would have preferred if we won. But to me, at least, like I said last week, it's patience season and trying to find the happiness. And there was plenty of cool things to get excited about and be happy about today.
I don't know. I think especially it was all set up like Frank's first game at Stamford Bridge. Mason Mount scores the opener early in the game. Chelsea dominate. Everything was set up to lay down the perfect statement for, no, last week was an absolute blip and that's not how we're going to be, and you should show faith in us playing younger players, and the transfer ban doesn't fucking matter, and this new manager who's a club legend in. It was all set up that way, and I was kind of following along the stats. I wasn't watching the game, and Chelsea early on had like 90% possession, and it was going
the first half hour was all us.
Yeah, and then I text you on about the 60th minute, just saying, "Oh, the stats seem to say like, oh, Leicester are getting back into this game massively," and then lo and behold, about 5 minutes later, they score and Chelsea do nothing. Just after Giroud was brought off and the cursed Tammy Abraham was brought on. And why the fuck isn't Batshuayi playing? And if he's not playing for Chelsea, then why doesn't he just play for Palace? And why don't you just fucking pricks like let us have a striker? And yeah,
you all right there, mate?
Yeah, fine.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're right. After that I think Sky put up at some point after the break in the last 10 minutes, Leicester had like 71% possession. They certainly came out looking for it, you know.
I think there's kind of two things going on there. I think one of them, and I think this will be sort of probably the story of Chelsea's season in a lot of ways, we seem to play to the level of our opponent. And that's not uncommon for like a young, talented, but inconsistent team. So when we played Liverpool, we rose to the level of Liverpool and went toe-to-toe for 120 minutes. Last week, we obviously lost 4-0, but we were pretty even, I think, all things considered, with United.
Everyone said it wasn't a 4-0 game.
It wasn't.
But ultimately,
and then
that's how it
today we were dead even. I would put all three of those at approximately a draw. And obviously, those are three very different levels of quality and skill and play. But I also think, I do wonder to what effect, like, a lot of this lineup did play 120 minutes or 90 minutes just a few days ago and had played last weekend as well. So, like, you know, we came out super strong and then got tired as the game went on. To me, there seems to be, like, a pretty obvious reason why that might have been the case. But probably I think it's more the first thing. I do think that, like, we're just going to play to the level of our opponents and let them back into games. I think that's going to be a running theme. But it was, like, Pulisic was exciting. He almost scored twice. Mount did score and almost scored another one.
Mount looks like he's going to have no problem settling into the Premier League at all. He really is sitting in that role really nicely. I don't think he's going to have any problem at all. You're going to have, once you get a fully fledged squad back from injury, you're going to have a lot of interesting squad battles going on for who gets positions and
Ross
stuff.
Barkley must just be so pissed off.
Well, it's his own fault.
Mason Mount is so good.
It's his own fault.
Yeah, to be fair, he should just be better.
Mount was definitively better, too. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to get stuck on Chelsea too long. We do get accused of being a Chelsea podcast sometimes. I think that's just...
Who the fuck says that?
Chuck will fight anyone who says that.
I'll fight anyone.
Full stop.
But the other thing we get accused of being is a Palace pod.
No, we're fucking not.
Sheffield 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Even when Chuck doesn't want us to be.
Yeah, I know, despite everything else. 1.9 to Sheffield, XG.
What?
0.2 to Palace.
Oh!
Spoiler alert, Chuck didn't watch this game, so he's only finding out how bad it was now.
All I know is the score.
0.2 XG, Chuck, it did not
Wait, what?
Good.
What? You didn't say 1.9 to 0.2?
Chuck, when you see this, your lack of opportunities in front of goal was disgusting. Just
really,
awful.
really
I
alarming.
mean, I already saw like the substitutions and just thought, oh, good, this week he's playing Benteke and Wickham. Like, at least last week it was a straight swap for someone who can't fucking score, but this week, oh, great, 2 out of 11 can't fucking do it.
They did get one shot from inside the
box.
box.
Oh, good, one shot.
A few from outside, but your 0.2 XG.
Honestly.
Gotta get, you know what though, like, Palace and jokes and making fun of Chuck aside, gotta give some credit to Sheffield here, right? I think
huge
that's fair.
amount. Their system seems to be working.
Exactly. It was very much their system that.
Hold on, I will not accept that. I will not. You don't get to say if it works against Palace, that doesn't mean it works. That means shit. You cannot take any insight from this.
Sort
match.
of worked against Bournemouth as well.
But again, Bournemouth can't defend. Bournemouth, it's just an
they only have to beat,
analogous.
They only have to get results against the Bournemouths and the Palaces of this world, and they're staying up.
Yeah, you're describing 14 teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just so bollocks because this is what happens every fucking season. It's like the games that we should win, and you're like, oh, well, we look back, we could have got more from that. And, oh, if we'd have done that from this game and done that, we'd have finished on 75 points. Because we'll still somehow manage to beat City at the Etihad again. And then we'll beat Spurs. And then, like, we'll get, like, a late 2-2 draw with Chelsea. And then maybe draw with Man United. But then it's like Sheffield, Norwich and fucking Newcastle will just make it rain with points and fuck them all off.
You do make it tough for yourself.
And it's bullshit. And then, we suck. 0.2!
Yeah. Don't watch it. Just don't watch it, Chuck.
Yeah, no. But I did want to shout out Sheffield's goal, though, like, genuinely, because it was that weird thing where the center back went wide and then crossed it into the fullback who had cut in inside of him. That, like, it's weird, and teams aren't not figuring it out yet.
I saw that, and it made me think we shouldn't we should just try and give United 100 million back and get Wan-Bissaka.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that was just that's why Joel Ward cost 400 grand and we bought him 8 years ago. Because he just got turned inside out by a defender who's playing as I don't even.
He's a wing center.
Yeah, we might have to come up with a new...
That's not even a thing, yeah. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, a new position.
You're getting skinned by a defender. You're a defender and you're getting skinned by a fucking defender because you're spinning round and you're out of position and the rest of the team's fucking shit.
And not even a defender the way Alonso's a defender in, as you idiots would say, inverted air commas or some shit. Right? Air quotes. In fucking quotes. Alonso's not really a defender, so he can like...
No, Alonso should just play as a winger.
Right,
that's
exactly. So when he blows past you, that's sort of acceptable. But this is like a hulking English center back from the championship who's like destroying your right back.
Love it.
Well, Chuck, you know what? If you want to feel a little bit better, though, you should know that you guys were not the lowest XG of the weekend.
Great.
The lowest XG of the weekend was Tottenham 0.1 to Manchester City's 3.2 at the Etihad.
God bless
finishing
VAR.
2-2 on the scoreline. So Tottenham have done a Burnley to City. These are the first points that Manchester City has dropped since January 29th. Leading up to this game, they've only been behind in that run from January 29th to now for a total of 86 seconds they've been trailing in a game.
Who did they play on January 29th?
Newcastle.
Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Okay. How great is that? How great! I honestly, like, the Chelsea fan in me is pissed because I need Tottenham to be dropping points, but fucking hilarious that they got 2 goals out of 0.1.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking special. I mean, the Lamela goal was awful.
Awful goalkeeping.
You know, there's a reason why everyone's standing off him at the edge of the box because they're just like, he's not going to do anything. And then he plays the shot in, and it doesn't have pace. It doesn't have placement. And so my only assumption can be that Edison thought he was going to have to dive really far. And then when he went to dive, he realised how close the ball was and then misjudged it and went, oh, fuck. And just had a brain meltdown. And because the ball pretty much goes into the centre of the goal.
Yeah, it had a bit of curl to it, but it was a horrible, horrible goalkeeping, like, performance.
My son's a goalkeeper, and we were watching that match, and as soon as that goal went in, I was like, oh, that, he really should have got to that. And Finley was like, oh, well, I don't know. It looked like, and I was like, you've joined the Goalkeepers Union already, haven't you? Unbelievable. Straight in the union he just naturally went into it and just defending a goalkeeper. I was like, no, mate. If that was you, you should have got to that. I'd have been fuming at that.
Is what you're saying is then, therefore, that Finley's, should we say, a less than good goalkeeper? Is that why he's defending that? Because he knows he would make that.
We're going to the park quite regularly so as I can fire shots at him, yeah. Got to get his chops up. So the man of the match award here going to VAR.
Tottenham's best player against City.
VAR.
Oh God! So that new handball rule is pretty good, right?
I don't know. It's a weird one because this is kind of the only one, right, where when people have said VAR is shit for the encroachment and all these things, and it's actually been exposing the rules, that this is a rule that's been brought in specifically for this season and is only being policed by VAR. So this is kind of the chink in the armour of the whole thing, that it's like, no, this is where the shot can be fired because you didn't need to bring this rule in.
Yeah.
Because in a fast-paced environment where you sprint fast, beat your man, jump up to head the ball, misjudge it, head past it, and then as it's passing through, strikes your hand that you had no idea about, that can't be some sort of infraction.
No, like it's really
just
bad.
Doesn't make
really,
sense.
Really bad.
And the fact that it's not even that's the offence, that what you do in that situation, if you handball it, well, handball is now subjective. It's that you can handball it and then you have to wait to see what happens afterwards. And then if what happens afterwards is a goal, you stop. It's not like you don't have that with like a 2-footed tackle to the knee. Like there's no way anyone plays advantage on that, or with head injuries. You don't wait to see what happens and then bring it back for whatever.
Yeah, that sort of only becomes handball because it went in the net.
Yes.
And I think they put this rule in place specifically to try to like ease with the implementation of VAR for the first time. Like that was, to me, that was the thinking behind it, right? Because they were like, oh, well, now it's, same as offside. Like now it's black or white. Did it touch his hand? Then it's disallowed.
But it's not. But that's the problem. It's not black or white. Because
it is with the new rule. Because if it touched his hand,
no, because it's not. Because if Laporte had handballed it and then someone had cleared it, it wouldn't have been called back for a free kick. Or if Jesus had shot, is it a goal scoring opportunity or just a goal? I think it's
anything
just a goal.
Leading up to a goal.
Yeah. So if he'd have shot and if it had gone out, then it would have been a goal kick.
Yeah. Well, that's because that's the other thing. Like people are getting up in arms about and it becomes a stick to beat it with, the clear and obvious error thing, and I'm doing inverted commas. But every goal gets reviewed for VAR, but it's not looking for clear and obvious errors. It's looking for any infraction, be it handball, offside, anything.
Right.
Every goal gets reviewed straight away. But only other incidents are only reviewed if it's a clear and obvious error.
Right.
So I mean, that Laporte thing, that would never get pulled up. Like Chuck says, that would never get pulled up anywhere else.
No, that's not a clear and obvious error.
Because it's not a clear and obvious error. But because a goal happened, it gets minusculely looked at by VAR very quickly, hopefully. And
it has been quick. I will say that it has been quick. Noticeably faster than the first week. To me, at least. I wasn't sitting there with a stopwatch or anything. That's just, anecdotal. But it did seem faster to me this weekend than last weekend. This is just, to me, another example of, like, VAR highlighting how stupid the rules are. This is probably worse because, like, they changed this rule specifically for this year to address things with VAR.
And that's what I mean, and it's kind of the fundamental one where it's like, no, this is the flaw now, that they've put something in on top of another. The fact that, because we can look at it now in super slow-mo, we can see if there is something. Like Willy Bolly last week for the Dendonka goal for Wolves. He didn't have a fucking clue what was happening there. Laporte for that goal didn't have a fucking clue what was going on there. So why can't they have it? Why can't they just have the handball rule as it was?
Yeah.
When it is intentional and fairly obvious? Because you can't say that at that pace and the whip of the ball that Laporte goes in with the intention of, right, I'm going to put my arm here and I'm going to pretend to miss the header and then it's going to hit my arm and then what's going to happen after that? It's going to hit my leg and then it's going to bounce up perfectly. That's not in any way what is going through in the mind. If you have something like, I'll use an example with Palace last year when we played Arsenal, and Lacazette jumped up with his arm above his head to then mean that he beat the defenders and punched the ball across to the back post where I think then Aubameyang scored. That should be ruled out for VAR. That makes sense to me. But jumping, going to head, it bounces slightly, doesn't even travel that far, so it's not like a punch or a huge deflection.
Yeah, no, it barely moved it either.
Yeah, come on now.
It is ridiculous. I fully agree with that.
They're in trouble now because they're going to have to apply it for the whole season. They're not going to be able to review this.
No,
until
and they
the
can't
end of the
change
season.
the rules. It is the rule, though. Like, that is the rule. They did it correctly. It's a stupid rule.
No, I get that, but they're not going to. What I'm saying is they're not going to be able to change that handball rule.
No, they're stuck with this stupid rule for the rest of the year. Yeah, it is going to be a natural equilibrium that needs to occur, right? It's like they put a 10-kilogram weight on a spring and it dropped, but it's going to sort of bounce and bob up and down until it finds that.
I mean, they can still
point.
ease up on it, because don't you remember a couple of seasons ago when all of a sudden they said they were going to toughen up on shirt pulling and stuff in the box,
and they never fucking did.
And well, no, they did, and Everton had about 4 penalties given against them in 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they just stopped giving them. Because they were like, because this is what happens with referee directives, is that they come out and they do get given a quota of, you've been given a lot of yellow cards, you need to ease up. You've given a lot of fouls for this. And they realise that they're giving a lot of fouls for this, which is perceived as a silly thing, and then they just stop.
Yeah, they do. You're right, because they do have sort of briefings all the time, don't they? When
they're humans just like the rest of us. Your boss will come in and be like, all right, you know what? We need to do such and such thing. And then everyone in the office does it for 2 weeks and then fucking forgets about it and moves on to the next thing. And it's like, all right, well, now we're really focusing on blah, blah, like, that's just having a job, innit?
Yeah.
Should we stop talking about it now?
Yeah.
VAR's still good. It's just the application of this law.
It's going to be... all the laws are shaky, and it's going to be a rough transition, but I continue to hold to the idea that VAR is just highlighting that.
Yeah, within the rules, the right thing happened.
Right, exactly. All right, well, let's keep it moving, because we do have a couple other sort of interesting fixtures to talk about. And I don't mean Brighton 1, West Ham 1, thank you.
Come on, Trossard. FPL gold.
Continuing to move backwards along the timeline, we had Liverpool 2, Southampton 1, but the interesting story here...
Oh, fuck, I forgot. Fuck.
You've reminded him that Adrian did that and meant that his triple Liverpool defence went very badly in Fantasy Premier League.
I genuinely forgot about that.
Yeah, well...
And he didn't even have the Carrier's concussion to blame on that. That's just a...
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it should have been a worse result for Liverpool because it was 1.9 Southampton to 1.5 Liverpool on XG. So they literally lost on XG to Southampton. This is the team that's supposed to challenge City for the title. Like, come on, now second week of the season, title race over. Done. Call it.
With Liverpool first. Don't do that because Liverpool are first and Arsenal are second.
Well, Liverpool are in first, but I'm saying they did worse than Southampton. Southampton. They're not good. Like, Liverpool should be concerned that they not only conceded 1.9 XG to Southampton, but also only generated 1.5 against Southampton.
Yeah,
like,
but you got to remember they had to travel to Istanbul for that bullshit friendly as well.
Fine, fair enough.
And that was weird. They had like 2 days more before Chelsea.
But 1 day less after.
But 1 day less after, yeah. So the game was on Wednesday?
Yep.
So in 3 days they've had to recover for a game and fly from Istanbul and then get G'd up to play Southampton. I don't know. I don't really read too much into that. You say about matching your opponent with the way Chelsea played, like I think that was just Liverpool doing that, going, fuck it. 80% of us used to play for them. We know what they're about.
But... So, like, to me, though, that's exactly a problem of ambition, though, right? Because, like, Liverpool are supposed to be competing across many fronts. And this is not going to be the only time in the season that they have to turn around in 3 days. They should have enough squad depth, and they should have a good enough team that they can handle playing Southampton on a slightly short rest cycle and still beat them. Which they did, but, like, that was more of a fluky win than a sort of win that you would expect. Mane's goal was fucking delicious.
Yeah, that I mean, if Mane's firing, he can match Salah, no problem. And if they are both firing, then Liverpool might be okay. But they don't look great at the back. And yes, it could be tiredness from a quick turnaround, but like Oscar says, they're going to have to put up with that. They haven't got a huge amount of strength in depth in defence, so they're going to have to live with it. And Norwich gave them problems last week. Southampton, like you say, did better on XG. If you watch the match, it was like Southampton can be rightly aggrieved at that result. And I mean, that's not good when you're talking about Southampton and Norwich and
no,
sort of
and even like
through.
Come on, you Chelsea, and keep the blue flag flying high and whatnot. But like, Liverpool should be better than us. They should not. We shouldn't be able to go toe to toe with them. I love Chelsea, but especially without Hazard now.
Yeah, at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah, but in a friendly, you can't on the one hand say that game was a massive friendly.
Both teams were interested though, Chuck. Both teams were interested. Come on.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, and it is a bullshit friendly, and I agree, and that's why I don't care about the result. But insofar as it was a game that Liverpool wanted to win and set out their best possible squad to do that, and we stopped them.
We didn't.
Until penalty kicks. We went... Anyway, that's. I'm not trying to spin this in the Chelsea way. I'm saying Liverpool should be better than Chelsea, should absolutely be better than Southampton, and should be better than Norwich. So that's 3 games into the season now that, like, I think they're in first place on the table, but they've underperformed, or they have not. They performed in a way that doesn't fill me with confidence.
I mean, this might be a thing of not performing great and still getting results. That's what champions do, apparently. So maybe they'll be all right. But they've got to get past Arsenal next week, and then what is it? Burnley, Newcastle, and then they face Chelsea. So it's a bit up and down for the next 4 fixtures.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got to raise their game, I think, for Saturday against Arsenal.
And speaking of Arsenal, that's the other sort of interesting fixture. Just to keep it with top 6, we had Arsenal 2, Burnley 1, but Arsenal 1.2 on XG to Burnley's 1.1. So speaking of another team that's getting results but should be concerned with the underlying numbers, Arsenal gave up 1.1 to Burnley at the Emirates. And that's after, generating like 0.9 against Newcastle the week before?
See, Match of the Day that I was watching use a different XG model, evidently, because they had Burnley outperforming with like a 1.9, I think.
Yeah, there's different ways of calculating it. Non-shot XG, shot XG.
Yeah.
A lot of the models are proprietary, so the probabilities are slightly different. Kaylee had it at 1.3 dead even, just looking at the different ones. Either way, though, Arsenal against Newcastle and against Burnley have not looked particularly good.
No, watching it, I mean, I don't get into the stats or anything, but it felt like a good 66% or whatever of the match was played in Arsenal's half. I mean,
yeah,
Burnley really did sort of take it to them attacking-wise, and they looked shaky. I mean, Arsenal's sort of shining light was their new signing. How do you pronounce it?
Ceballos.
He looked really good.
He looked amazing, especially at 5.0 in FPL.
5.5, I think, but yeah, still,
5.5.
Yeah, amazing value. Yeah, definitely.
Still worth noting, again, on loan. So
yeah, he's on loan from Madrid, though.
I didn't realise he was on loan. If that's anything to go by, they're going to look to make that permanent, surely.
Yeah, he's basically Kovacic a year later.
Yeah.
He was really the only shining light there, I think, from an Arsenal perspective. I'd be curious to get an Arsenal fan's perspective on it. I wonder if they're riding high because of results, or if, as usual, they're overperforming their underlying numbers early in the season indicates, fall later on.
You say that he was the only shining light, and player-wise he might have been, but they can maybe be encouraged by the fact that Emery made team changes that seemed to shuffle things around and seemed to get them moving a little bit. I mean, Aubameyang was pretty anonymous in the first half when he was playing. Was he playing out on the right? Yeah,
he was playing on the right wing.
Yeah, and then after the break, they changed him to the left, and then the last 20 minutes, he seemed to be playing through the middle.
Emery's always been good at that, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure Arsenal fans can back me up on this and say that in the first half, I think the first half of games last season, they were one of the worst teams in the entire league.
I think they were in 19th place if it was only first halves.
Yeah.
And first place if it was only second halves, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great start.
They won all their points and goals everywhere in the second half, and it was crazy. They were the opposite of Palace. Palace, it would have been, if all the games had ended at half time, they'd have been fifth in the table or something like that. But yeah, that's so he's good at that and that reactive kind of play. But you just hope that he brings more kind of stability, that they know about the opponent more beforehand. And so I wonder if that's in their prep and the way they look at teams. But Aubameyang did, like you said, he played well and then got a great goal towards the end. And Lacazette's strength for his goal was fantastic. He had two Burnley defenders on him, leant back, pushed him off, still stayed on his feet, didn't try and go down for a penalty like a lot of players would. And then
a lot of Arsenal players would. I mean, yeah, that's not something you usually associate with Arsenal players, is it?
Mm-mm.
Strength on the ball and being able to hold them off.
Although now with him and with Luiz there too, Luiz is fucking will not be moved if he doesn't want to be. He'll throw elbows or whatever.
Yeah, he was getting about a bit as well.
Yeah, that hurt to watch.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
you would think this far into his tenure that Arsenal fans would want Emery to know what his best lineup is and know how to. Doesn't need to adjust at halftime. Lampard is obviously all over the place right now. He doesn't know what his best lineup is. He doesn't know the best formation, etc., etc. If a year from now it's game week 2 of next year and Lampard still doesn't know what his best formation and lineup is, and is still chopping and changing every single week, I would be significantly more worried and angry about it.
Yeah.
So, at what point is it okay, fine, you're recovering, but, get it fucking right from the starting lineup? Or are they just happy to keep getting results?
Although there was also, that thing with Ozil and Kolasinac that we mentioned last week, and perhaps they were going to feature a lot more, and then he's got to change. And
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to know. That's true.
It's a factor. Not to excuse it because it's still Arsenal, but
all right. Well, something to keep an eye on, I guess. It seems like the results this weekend were definitely weird but entertaining, which I think is a good summary of the weekend. But let's move on to some predictor games and stuff. Right? We have a lot to check in on.
Predicted League. Yeah. I have. Wait, let me click on the right tab. This one. Yes, I have actually updated it, and shock horror, we're all still massively wrong.
That's fair enough at this stage.
Yeah, it is. It's good for you to say that, Ian, because you are currently in the relegation zone.
Yep. Well, I think anyone who's at the top now will be nowhere near at the end. I'm putting my house on that now.
As someone who is supporting a club that is currently in 15th place and behind Crystal Palace, I can agree that the table should not matter this early in the season.
That's my only consolation, that still, after an absolutely fucking dogshit week, Chelsea couldn't close and we're still above you in the table. Look at you with your -5 goal difference.
Yeah. No, -4.
-4, sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You need Wolves to drop to a -5 tomorrow to then...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it should be said we have not seen Man United Wolves. We are recording on Sunday, about an hour after the Chelsea match finished, so...
Well, it's about 4 hours now. We've been recording so long, but...
Standard.
So, yeah. Not really much to check into. There's not much change, apart from Oscar is now in 3rd.
Ooh.
Momo FPL in 2nd on 88, and Big Sam Danby in 82 points at the top.
He'll be nowhere near when it comes to the close.
I'm tying with Adam P, so there you go.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah. Finley's beating me and Ian. You need to sort your son out, because I'm not going to lose.
Don't worry, he put Newcastle way too high. I cautioned him severely on it, but yeah, he put Newcastle way too high. And
they're going to finish 10th now, right?
Well, yeah, maybe. But when Norwich beat them this week,
oh yeah, can we shout that out actually?
Yeah, a bit of Pookie love.
Timu Pookie. I mean, first of all, well annoyed because did that classic thing of the fact that we spoke about him across our preview pods, and then I didn't put him in my FPL team.
No, I didn't either.
He's in mine.
Is he?
My FPL team's going along quite nicely so far, I gotta say.
Did he play? Did you put him in the
Yeah,
lineup?
I had him as vice captain, though.
Vice captain?
I had the captain on him for a few days, and then I chickened out and put it back on Salah.
Oh.
Really disappointed.
That's painful.
But yeah, I did that classic thing of having a good idea and then just not sticking with it. And then I was debating between him and Josh King, so obviously I went for Chris Wood.
Oscar, did you get him in because on my Patreon FPL podcast I made him my weird pick of the week?
No, I've had him since day one.
Oh, right, fuck you.
Yeah. So I have to say, you are the reason that I changed my armband. Listening to your stupid thing, I was like, God damn it, if he captained Salah and I don't, he's definitely going to catch up to me.
Oh, you mind gamed him.
So you got me, and you got one on me.
I was genuinely 50-50 between Salah and Aubameyang, but I thought I've got to have the courage of my convictions on that one, and I've got a captain Aubameyang, and it came out all right in the end. Patreon.com/milesoffsidepod if you want my FPL mini pods.
Yeah.
Absolute gold, like Pookie. No one else knew about Pookie. No one was talking about him, just me.
No one at all. Don't look at Twitter. Close it, delete it, done.
Don't listen to our FPL special where I had him in my team from before the season.
First person shooting players. First one to go is definitely Ryan Fraser. Speaking of FPL, we are still going with our team in the league.
We're still going with it. I like that. After 2 weeks, we might have knocked it on the head.
We have not quit yet.
You guys put me in charge of it, so it well could fall by the wayside.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to need you to email me that password.
Absolutely not. I've already changed it. Fuck you. It's mine. We are currently 12th out of 16 now. There's 2 new people, I believe. I'm just going to open it. Yes, we are 12th out of 16 in the Extremes of Stupidity and Genius League, which is the FPL Roundtable League. that they've done from Stephen Toomey, who is part of the FPL Beer Club, and quite a few other illustrious podcasters and us that are in there. And we're currently on a 43-point week, lads.
Well, this week, that's probably all right, isn't it?
For this week, yeah, it's not the best. We had Sterling as captain, we had Salah in there, we had Luca Digne and Josh King. So really, again, our points come from 3 players.
Anybody left to play?
Well, my headband hero, Alan Saint-Maximin, was not part of Steve Bruce's plans against Norwich, which is why, obviously why they lost. Not because they're absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Mason Greenwood is first sub.
Yeah. We rolled a transfer. Have we got any suggestions of what we're going to do with it? I mean, I don't like having a Newcastle player.
Well, I think we should do Fraser to Ceballos. That frees up, 2.0?
Yeah.
And then we can upgrade. Greenwood's not actually getting any minutes.
He got four. Four
for the Queen's minutes.
Versus Chelsea.
Not getting any real minutes.
I mean, that's still minutes.
Minutes is minutes.
Garbage minutes against the team in 15th place doesn't count as anything.
Okay.
So let's say Greenwood to one of the 6.5 guys, Jota or Pookie, if we can afford him.
No, we can't get Pookie. He's on the old bandwagons.
So Fraser, Ceballos, Greenwood to Jota.
Jota, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Fraser and Greenwood to Ceballos and Jota. That's like the opposite of Brexit. I don't like Fraser because he's small. He looks like a frog. Probably smells.
Okay, getting quite personal for the fantasy football team there.
Well, I'm not that personal because you don't have to be in someone's immediate vicinity to tell they smell. Don't want him. And after, the one thing that stuck in my mind from watching Match of the Day was I want Kevin De Bruyne everywhere. I want him as a friend. I want him to endorse the role of Casper the Friendly Ghost and just float around my house and have incredibly drunk uncles. So I am going to go Fraser to Kevin, and to facilitate the cashish, drop Digne to Lundstram. Because he must be good because he scored against Palace's defence.
I like that move.
That's a nice move. Shifting money into midfield. I'll tell you what, I'll do similar. I'll say Alexander-Arnold down to Lundstram.
Oh, a 3 millioner.
And then Saint-Maximin up to Pogba.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well, why wouldn't we go for Martial over Pogba? He seems the better midfield option for United. He's playing at number 9, bruh.
It's Ian's suggestion, Oscar, not fucking yours.
Yeah, and because Chuck so staunchly defended it, I'm going to do that too, even though Martial's probably the better option.
Well, that doesn't matter. You want to spend the money, mate. You don't want money in the bank. Who wants money in the bank? Let's face it.
No one.
No one. So those are our FPL moves. Getting ready for the thirds of game weeks, and to be honest, because of price changes, those polls will go out tonight, so by the time you hear what we're suggesting, it will all be redundant. So we'll have to make it quick because, yeah, lads, Friday night football, Aston Villa Everton.
Oh, fucking hell.
Don't you just love to see it? It kind of makes me glad that I'll be at an airport on a plane and unable to follow any football.
Oh, yeah. I'm not here next week as well. Yeah, you're on your own.
Just me?
Just you, Oscar.
Just you.
All right, well, tune in next week as me and Emily talk about Christian Pulisic for an hour and a half.
That's the dream.
Spoiler alert, that won't happen. So, yeah, Aston Villa, Everton.
Shut up.
Do you hear her? You hear her?
God, that's going to be a new USA, isn't it? Oh, fuck. Then early morning Saturday fixture is Norwich-Chelsea, which... Sorry, Oscar, that means Norwich is going to win.
Yeah.
Brighton, Southampton, Man United, Palace, Sheffield, Leicester, Watford, West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal in the 5:30, 12:30, whatever it is, East Coast kickoff. That could be a good one. Then on the Sunday, we have got Bournemouth, Man City.
Getting dicked by Man City.
Spurs, Newcastle.
Getting dicked by Spurs.
Dicked by Spurs. And Wolves, Burnley.
Who fucking knows?
Yeah. Oh, we need to start giving out an award for the Burnleyest Burnley of the week.
It's Burnley. It will always be Burnley.
Well, no, this week
Burnley.
clearly that goes to Tottenham.
Yeah,
Point one to
definitely. Yeah, Tottenham are our Burnley of the week. Yeah,
that's incredible that Tottenham out Burnley.
Yeah,
definitely.
What are you guys looking at for next week? Obviously I'll take the easy one. Liverpool Arsenal, big match of the weekend. Both teams have been underperforming their numbers / overperforming numbers. I don't know which one I mean because those 6 beers are still working their way out of my body. But I'm gonna go with Liverpool dicking Arsenal because it's at home.
I'm looking to the fact that this wedding I'm going to has an open bar. That's mainly what it is. It is also on Saturday. I believe there's a break in the day. I'm hoping it's around the time United and Palace play.
Yeah.
Maybe I can watch the football. I doubt at this point my girlfriend does still listen to the podcast. I hope she does because it's nice to have her support.
Be nice to have a download in Lithuania as well.
Yeah, that's true. We can chart. I mean, there's like barely any internet there, so
we're not charting there yet. So come on,
we'll chart. I'll make it big. I'll be walking around the wedding. I will get, if it's an open bar, I will get absolutely fucking wankered. We'll be going around. I've got a blue suit. I'm down with the kids. They all wear blue suits on Instagram now.
Do they? Good.
You guys gonna beat United next weekend?
No, never beaten them.
Oh, that's upsetting.
No, never. So that's not happening. I am looking forward to Man City bringing down the Thunder on Bournemouth and making Eddie Howe cry. Because I don't like Eddie Howe.
Do you not?
No.
Why not?
I told you last year he's a millennial Pardew.
That sounds like something I would want to hang out with.
No, you wouldn't.
Don't tell me what I wouldn't. Would or wouldn't. Wouldn't.
You alright there, mate?
He lulls you in with his sense of niceties on his lovely little South Coast team, but he'll dazzle you with the sense of Paco Rabanne and Blue Nun.
Sounds like my sort of man.
I don't know what words you're saying. None of those mean anything to me, but are the Posh going to win next weekend, Ian?
I don't want to talk about Peterborough.
Hang on, I had to listen to fucking 0.2 XG. What did Peterborough do this weekend?
Drew 2-2 to Ipswich.
Oh fuck,
Yeah,
Ipswich.
Yeah, we lost our first 2 league games. We are also out of the League Cup.
Oh shit, that's early.
Already, first round. Lovely. Who needs it? Yeah, by the time this goes out, we'll have already lost to Southend. So that'll be another game. Honestly, I had such optimism, and our 1.3 million striker looked like a fucking statue in every game he's played. Because it turns out playing shit muncher teams like Kettering Town and Stamford and stuff like that doesn't prepare you for a League One season. Who fucking knew? The only decent team we played is Barnet, who we beat in pre-season, and you lost to, I think, Chuck.
Yeah, just the 6-2.
Yeah, exactly. So that shows how much pre-season means. But I mean, yeah, it's no good at Peterborough. I mean, I really would like to beat Southend, but like I say, by the time this goes out, that will have already happened.
But
probably.
you also went on like a 9-game winning streak at the start of last year.
Yeah,
did you not?
True.
And so you didn't get promoted. So
yeah,
sometimes in football, you just need to try something different.
Yeah, maybe doing it the other way around. But I want to be winning by the time we get to MK Dons, which is the game on Saturday, because I fucking hate MK Dons. Ugh.
Is he at least a nice-looking statue, or is it like one of those Cristiano
he's a
Ronaldo
good-looking
ones?
statue. Yeah.
Okay, good. So at least there's that.
Like one of those ones where you put a quid in a box and then he moves a bit.
Moves a bit, yeah. Put 1.3 million in a box and he moves a bit.
He better fucking move rapid.
About as rapid as our rapid-fire news stories, eh?
I mean, they're your rapid-fire news
stories. They are
stories,
our rapid-fire news stories, Chuck.
Chuck's taking no ownership of them.
I don't take fuck. Admin, guys, I fill in a spreadsheet, that's all I do. Let's not beat around the bush as to the very minimal effort I put in week on week, but I'm also always here, so, you know.
That's true.
That's
literally the only one who's been on every episode.
Literally, so continuing on that point, we won't be here next week because I'm away and Ian's flying off on one of his holidays. Chances are, knowing his luck, there'll be a thunderstorm and his plane won't leave and it'll be postponed for a month. So maybe you'll hear Ian next week.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted if we are going to do an impromptu one, but chances are you'll be without us for a whole week, guys. I'm sure you'll manage.
I think you thought I was joking about me and Emily talking about Pulisic for an hour and a half.
Dude, no one will listen to that. Let's face it. And so with that, we find ourselves at the end of game week 2. Here's to hoping there'll be a fucking better one, because Lord knows all three of us can't deal with this shit for another season. Thank you very much, boys. Oscar, please take off those fucking sunglasses now. You look like a twat. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and goodbye.
USA.